Yep. So on change value. So here, I'll just explain what I'm doing.
Because this had the radio button to select the category.
Yes. So basically, on the other ones, we're going to do on change and handle input change as well. So okay, one thing to notice, I actually made a slight mistake. So when we, so this is going to be handleSubmit. So, and this function is going to be called when we click on this button. So handleSubmit. So when we click on the submit button, this function gets called, and this is the function that's going to basically create the post request. And for the handle input change, it's going to be something else. So this is going to be the handle input change. E is basically like the argument that's getting passed from the user, like whatever input they're sending. That's basically what we're representing in E. And what we're doing is we're taking the name and the value. Dot target, and then set form data. Name, value. So what this is basically doing is, long story short, whenever there's a change in the inputs, that value is getting stored into one of these. So if the name gets changed, it's gonna get stored here. If the brand gets changed, it's gonna get stored here, and etc. And so what else is there? So there's also going to be a value here. So it's going to be the form data dot name. So basically, we're just taking the variables from the form data dot name dot image, etc. So let's just copy and paste it here. This is going to be the form data dot image, form data dot price, and this is going to be form data dot category.
That's your payload on the left side of that we call the key.
This is going to be stock quantity. This is going to be the description that we created. And we also have the handleSubmit. Anything else? Let's see. And that's about it for here. And so I'm sending a request to 4,000. So I have to check if the backend is like the port that the backend is set up in. So let me just check that just to make sure. So this is our backend, the backend code base for the products. And let's look at the product JSON.
Remember, we have the two code base. We have done the backend, so we have to come make sure the backend is running. If the backend is not running, your front end will not be able to reach out to the backend, and the request will not be working. So the first, if the front end is failing, we have to go back to the backend, make sure the backend is up and running. If it is not, just kill it and run it.
Yes. So as we can see, I set the port name to 4000. So we're just gonna run it at 4000. Okay, so the backend is running. So now, so let's just make sure our everything is okay in this page. So let's just revise. So I have the handle input change whenever there's an input change in the whenever there's a change in one of these inputs that the user makes. So that's fine. And so for the handle submit, this is the function that's going to be triggered when the submit button gets called. So that's fine. And anything else? Everything looks fine. Okay. So let's just save this and check what we made. useState is not defined, so I have to import that. So useState is basically what I have here. I have to basically import it. So I basically import that from React. Okay.
So useState is a part of the React.js.
Yes. So let's create. Yeah, you go ahead.
Front end is 3002. Port number of backend is 4000. So the backend is running. It should be able to work. We should be able to go check the network tab as well. Okay. And then we'll be actually shutting down the backend and to see if the front end is working or not.
Yes. Okay. So 1200.
Just
So right now I'm basically inputting the information.
Apple try change the 1200 to 1000.
1000.
Apple M1. Just type something. Yes. Okay.
Okay, yeah, let's look at the.
So see, so we got the error, which is good, which is the end goal. So now let's try it out. And that's the way you will start finding the issue. So
Okay,
API is still not connected with the backend. So now we can go check.
yes, let's go check. Okay, so
Can you see if any error coming on the terminal?
yes, let me console.
So the developer normally, if things does not work, normally this kind of message you do not add in the code, but the developer use to actually debug the error where the error is throwing. Because in the development environment, it is solely their environment. They can add anything they want for the debugging, identifying the bug, identifying any type of issues. So like it is failing, right? So we're adding some of the log message on the code just to identify where the error is throwing.
Okay, so I didn't specify the endpoint, so hopefully this is the reason.
Yep.
So I just added it.
So we selected the base URL. Go back there.
Yes.
Go back to the code. It's important. So look at this. He selected the base URL, which is line number 21, correct? But that's the base URL is the if there is 100 of API, it is going nowhere. But go back to the Swagger and go to the Swagger, and that's the create. That's the API we need to. So we are exactly reaching out here.
Yes.
So you need to understand the everything details. Now we can actually try it out to see how that goes. Go to the network tab and submit. Error
Okay,
again.
there's an error again. So let's see what's happening. So I specified this is Axios. Okay, I have Axios. Okay. Response, that's status. Error item product. So we have on-click handleSubmit. So we have value.
Data. So you have to go one by one. Can you see?
Yes.
Can you see on the back end, the terminal, what type of error you are getting? Oh, of course, you're not able to reach out to the back end.
Yeah.
So your front end implementation is giving the error. Okay. How do we know this? Because you already know from the Postman we are able to create the data, and the Swagger we actually tried out. We are able to use the data. We have also verified the database, so backend and database is working just fine. So precisely our issues on the front end, because the front end is not able to reach out to the back end, and that's the reason the front end is unable to create a product.
Yes.
So did you do any type of the typo?
Okay, I'm checking. Okay, so our backend is running.
For the sake of argument, can I go to the Swagger, and if we can create a let's say create an API, create a product, so you will know for sure that the backend is working.
Okay, so let's run the Swagger for this one. Okay, so run npm run server. So now let's check. Okay, so let's first do a get.
Out.
Okay, yeah, so there are no products yet. So let's create one.
So now we're just verifying to make sure the backend API is working. We know that it should, but we need to verify.